set, theatrical. So I came up with this circular opening with a grid, a bare set with just one chair.
As the screen opened up at Rush's and this dome appeared, the whole crew applauded. It was an instantaneous reaction to a brilliant piece of interpretation. No one else in the world would have thought of a dome.
The set itself helps establish Dr. No as a larger-than-life villain, but it is only the first design challenge for Ken Adam. He comes up with a design philosophy for Dr. No's massive underground apartment.
You can only call it tongue-in-the-cheek, slightly ahead of its time type of concept. To juxtapose the modern space with good antiques.
I fall in love with everything. I wanted to take everything home with me. I said, oh, look at the fabulous desk. And, oh, I thought it. And the aquarium he made and everything he did, it was fabulous.
Everybody started saying, well, you know, we've got to find something even more exotic in here.
It is writer Joanna Harwood who comes up with the perfect touch.
The famous Goya portrait had just been stolen.
And nobody could find it.
Joanna Harwood, one of the writers, decided wouldn't it be funny if he had stolen the Goya painting of the Duke of Wellington.
The key to the film remains Dr. No's threatening presence. Joseph Wiseman plays the role with unnerving calmness on the surface.
I remember he was so nervous. So I said, oh, thank God I find somebody else who is nervous.
Despite nerves, Wiseman's performance sets the standard for all Bond villains to follow.
Unfortunately, I misjudged you. You are just a stupid policeman.
Tell me, does the toppling of American missiles really compensate for having no hands?
For the film's finale, Adam creates a massive $100,000 set, Dr. No's nuclear reactor control room.
The most important part of that whole complex was really the nuclear reactor room. It was a big set, and it had to be very functional in many ways because there's a fight in the end.
A lot of talent went into the Bond films. Ken Adams' contribution is beyond description.
One of the final scenes proves to be one of the most challenging.
There was a scene where Dr. No was going to experiment on me, the pain, how much pain I can sustain. And he was going to put me in a pool of these big king crabs. And they had to fly those into London. These crabs finally came in, they opened all the cases, but they were all frozen because they were packed on ice.
And they didn't look menacing, and they were half dead, and oh no, it was a disaster.
Quickly, the crabs are removed, and Ken Adam arranges for a flooding effect.
Everybody said, okay, that's a wrap, bye. Bye-bye, and that's it. Nobody thought ever it's going to be this successful.
The raw elements of the film are turned over to editor Peter Hunt.
You know, the standard thing was, you mustn't cut on movement because it'll be a jump, you know, that sort of thing. Well, that's nonsense.
Hunt's innovative style of cutting creates a breathtaking sense of movement.
I didn't wait for movement to stop me from cutting from one thing to the other and keeping the timing of the sequences going.
One vital element is creating a sound for the film, starting with the voice of Ursula Andress.
I bet I know a lot more things than you do.
I think she had rather an attractive voice, but it was a voice with a heavy accent.
Peter Hunt hires voice artist Monica Vandersil to redub Ursula Andress, giving her voice a mild accent and a sense of sexually charged innocence.
Do you have a woman of your own?
Monica Vandersil was an extremely good voice.
But the voices are only one part of the final soundtrack.
We had to have an overall sound.
The job of creating the sounds on Dr. No falls largely to Norman Wanstall.
In those early days, we didn't have the facilities of synthesizers and computers, and it really was very difficult to create noises. You had to go out and seek and find anyone that had a tone or a hum or a whir or any machine that would create anything.
He was very good and very inventive.
I was searching in the libraries and I found the most extraordinary electronic track. I don't know where it was produced from. And immediately my mind said, Dr. No, Bond in the Tunnel. Gordon McCullum, who was the man who actually mixed the tracks together, I found it very interesting. He was a very volatile man, and people were slightly in awe of his temper. When he saw the rough cut of Dr. No, he left his empire, which it was, at Pinewood Studios, walked over to my editing room, and he knocked on the door and very humbly said, when can we start? He said, this is what filmmaking's all about.
I still wasn't really happy with a Bond theme. And I had a meeting with Cubby and Harry at one time. And I think it was Harry who suggested possibly putting Underneath the Mango Tree at the top of the film. And I thought, no, that can't be so.
I mean, it was inappropriate music for the film.
And I suddenly remembered something that I'd written for a musical called A House for Mr. Biswas. I was born with this unlucky sneeze, and what is worse, I came into the world the wrong way round. The next middle section went, I was born under a bad sign. This was the genesis of the James Bond theme.
The theme is not yet complete, and time is running out. John Barry is brought in to arrange and conduct the new theme.
He brought some marvelous dynamics and chords and ideas.
We just recorded a DMI with lots of reverb, lots of echo with the big band, and it just sounded very fresh.
I was very fortunate in the end in getting this marvelous James Bond theme.
When I heard it, I was knocked out.
So it went practically into every time James Bond was about to do something or something was about to happen, I inserted the music.
The film nears completion, but graphic designer Maurice Binder has an idea for the opening shot.
That was Maurice's idea. It was a pure invention of Maurice.
Using a pinhole camera, Maurice Binder and Trevor Bond photograph the inside of a pistol barrel. Using stuntman Bob Simmons to double for Bond, Maurice Binder creates an opening logo which excites generations of Bond fans the world over. On October the 6th, 1962, Dr. No premieres at the London Pavilion Cinema in Piccadilly Circus. In the United Kingdom, the film becomes an immediate smash. In the United States, Bond becomes a hit in the spring of 1963. Soon, 007 fills theaters around the globe. In its initial release, the film earns more than 20 times its $1 million budget. Dr. No stands as a testament of the collaborative art of filmmaking. The film captivates audiences, intrigues critics, inspires filmmakers. It took one man to write the James Bond novels, but it takes over 100 film professionals to transform Ian Fleming's literary secret agent into the legendary hero of the silver screen.